Hi friends, this is Prem and today we are going to discuss about a very important topic. After the latest USCIS memo, they have clarified so many things. Actually, it's not an official clarification, but they have given the clarification whenever the reporters ask or whenever the attorneys ask. So they have given the clarification. So at this point, what is really happening in the attorney's world? How the adjustment of status is going on? Whether the risk level is same as the family based green card, the employment based green card, or the employment based green card is safe. And very important thing I want to discuss with the attorney, whether we can expect more number of unused green card, that is basically from the family based green card to the employment based green card in the next year. Because in this fiscal year 2026, we got 46,000 unused green card. That boosted the Indians data on the visa bulletin. Whether it's going to happen it again. Let's discuss with our attorney. Henry is from Manifest Law Firm, and Manifest Law Firm is given a free consultation to you. If you have any questions related to your visa or green card, you can ask them and it's totally free. You have the QR code on your screen, just scan it and schedule your appointment. Hi Henry, thanks for your time and very happy to meet you again. Today we are going to discuss about the most important topic for our meeting. There are a lot of clarification coming from the USCIS team and we would like to know what is really happening on the attorney's world. Before going to this meeting, வணக்கம் எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கேங்க.
Yeah, I'm good, Henry. Thank you. So, can you please give us some hints about what are the clarification they have given after the initial memo?
There's not any official documents from USCIS. All we have is reporters that have talked to some people inside USCIS. So that means there's reports that some senior officers or officials inside USCIS have basically said, don't worry, it's not that bad, right? That's basically what they've said. That it's not that they are going to deny everybody who's applying for AOS, but that the primary purpose of the memo is to reduce approvals for people who are on tourist visa or overstay who don't have status, things like that. I think that is a good news, and it basically means what I was thinking in the beginning, that maybe the initial reaction was a lot of panic and it's hopefully not going to be as bad as people were thinking in the beginning.
Yeah, you have given the idea in the first video itself. So, the risk level is not common for all the people. So, there would be more risk on the tourist or the students who is trying to the I-485 than the working visa. Can I say the highly skilled immigrants are the EB categories are little bit safer than the other categories?
Yes, I think that's safe to say that even somebody applying from F1 to green card or something like that is going to be a safer case if they have, high level of education, good immigration history, that they have not had any violations in the past. And, of course, if the employment is something with a high salary or, in an important role like working in a hospital or working in a company doing something with AI, those are the kind of things that if the government cares about it, then they have a more reason to look at that as a positive factors for the AOS case as well.
Yeah, that's what they mentioned in the memo. There is a national interest or the economical factors. So, yeah, it makes sense, Henry. So, what about the family-based green card, which they are trying to do inside the USA? Because you mentioned in several videos, most of the family-based, apart from the immediate relatives, are doing outside the USA. But still, there are few things are doing inside the USA. So, what will happen to them?
I think the family-based cases are the ones where we're going to see a lot more fluctuation in terms of the results. So, for example, if somebody is in valid immigration status, they marry a U.S. citizen, they apply for AOS, and then until the very end of the application, they have their H-1B, let's say, or something, then I think this is super, super low risk category, and there's not really much to be worried about in that situation. But there are family categories, for example, where people are not in status, right? If somebody came to the United States maybe 20 years ago, now they marry a U.S. citizen, they overstayed on their B2 visa and they don't actually have immigration status now. And then when they apply for AOS, then that will be a very negative factor that they have no immigration status when they are applying for AOS. in that situation, I think they would need some very strong positive factors in order to win the case. Is the US citizen having some medical issue? Is it very critical that the foreign national remains in the United States? Again, what is the education level, other family relationships? Is there some other benefits to Americans that come from this person being able to stay in the United States? So I think they're going to be a lot more strict when it comes to those cases, and that means if somebody does not have education, does not have good immigration history, does not have a lot of these positive factors, then I think it's much more risky.
Yeah, it's a clear explanation. Thanks, Henry. So, can we expect after this memo there will be a lot of RFEs or NOIDs to the applicants?
I think so, but basically, what I've been hearing right now is that there is confusion on the USCIS side as well. Because imagine this, USCIS is a big agency. Just because they issue one memo does not mean that every officer who is working at USCIS understands what they even need to do. So you have officers in Atlanta, New York, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, all over the country, and none of them have received very detailed instructions on what they are supposed to do. We have already seen some RFEs for pending AOS cases where there is a bullet point list that they are asking. Tell us why you need adjustment of status instead of consular processing. And the bullet pointed list asks for things like tell us about your education level, employment history, any benefit to your family, why does your family need you to be here? Is there any particular purpose why you didn't go for the consular processing instead? All of these kind of things they ask for as the factors in the RFE. Second, in some USCIS offices, we have heard that officers are just not even making decisions. They're just like, I'm just not even going to approve anything right now. I'm going to wait for a few weeks and see what happens, because they're waiting. They don't want to make a decision on a case when they don't even know what they're supposed to do. So they're just moving on with doing the interviews, but not making a final decision on any of the cases until they hear from their supervisors on what they're actually supposed to do with those cases.
So, when you said you guys have received some RFEs, are those family based or employment based?
The one where I saw those bullet points, it was somebody else shared it with me, but it's not one of my own cases. So I don't know exactly the details of that one, whether it's employment or family based. But I would anticipate that we're going to see more of this type of RFEs because the officers, if they're not sure what they're supposed to do, usually they tend to do more RFEs because it wins them some time and they get some more information from the applicants.
When there is a confusion and more RFEs, can we expect delay on the green card even though my priority date is on the visa bulletin?
Yes, I think so. If they're not sure what they're supposed to do, they don't want to approve a case and then later get in trouble with their supervisor that says, hey, you shouldn't have approved this case, right? So they would rather issue an RFE, take longer on the time on the case processing, and then, be more confident when they actually know what to decide on the case, whether to approve or deny.
Okay, because we already crossed the 3/4 of this fiscal year. If they are not able to give all the green card within this fiscal year, the employment-based green card will elapse, right? So they can't reuse it. But the family-based green card can go to the employment-based green card. So can we expect some more unused family-based green card to the employment-based green card?
I don't know if you saw that in the news, but recently they said that from last year, there was 46,000 family-based green card numbers that were coming into the employment-based category. And this is a little bit of what we discussed when we were talking about all this visa bans and travel bans and immigrant visa adjudication pause and all of these things. I said, maybe if many people don't go to the consular interviews or don't get their visas, then there's going to be leftovers, and maybe that's going to impact the visa bulletin and everything. And now we see that there's 46,000 visas that they didn't use in the family cases. That means more visas for EB cases. I don't know really what to expect for next year, if it's going to be more family cases or more employment cases. But if I have to guess, I would say that I think the approval rate for AOS is going to be higher in the EB cases, right? So if because having a job offer is already a positive factor that you're not somebody who is unemployed. Not to mention that most of the green cards are in categories where people have higher level of education, so that's going to be a positive factor. And even the categories where they don't have high level of education, they are often jobs where there is significant demand in the industry, right? Like if you're a truck driver, there's a shortage of truck drivers in the United States and they really need them. Or if you are working in healthcare setting, like assisting doctors and nurses and things like that, those are very high demand jobs. So if you are applying on that basis, I think you have a much higher chance of being approved. Whereas if you are applying on the family based categories and you are unemployed and don't have high level of education, maybe they will use that as a very negative factor.
Yep. Even I have the similar view. Even last year we got, that is a fiscal year 2025, we got a 46,000 around unused family base to the employment base, which added with the existing 140K. So 186K. So there's a big number. But I have the optimistic view because the fiscal year 2026, they implemented a lot of strict rules. We discussed about the social media vetting and so many background checks and everything. So eventually it delay the process. So I'm just expecting something 60 to 80K unused family based green card to the employment based green card. That is just my assumption. So let's see. What about the I-140? So can we expect some delay on the I-140 or is same as it is?
I don't think that's going to change anything on the I-140 processing. The general trend with I-140 is that it's taking longer if you don't pay for premium. So if you want the result, you're going to have to pay for premium.
From your experience, are you expecting any delays on the H4EADs? Because a lot of queries asking about that one, because some people, they are not able to continue their job because of the EAD processing time. So are you seeing the more processing time now, or is any improvement on that side?
Honestly, I haven't heard anything about this changing. When it comes to the AOS, I've actually seen more cases moving faster. Just yesterday, somebody contacted us and said, "Hey, we filed a case in April and we have an interview in June." So that's super fast for family-based AOS. But for H4EAD, I'm just hearing the same thing. There's a lot of people who've already been waiting for more than 6 months and they're still waiting for their EAD.
Yeah, that's a hard time for them. But there's a good news you mentioned about the adjustment of status, the latest memo and the latest clarification. As per our discussion, there will be a very less impact for the highly skilled immigrants, basically for the employment-based green cards, and we can expect the more family-based green card to the employment-based green card in the next fiscal year. Thanks for your time, Henry, and you have given a lot of information to us, and thanks again.
My pleasure.
Nandri.
Andre.